Today I decided to show my face because we actually have a nice light today. If I knew that the light would be so great, I would probably have done a different kind of video, but you never know. And also, there's no guarantee that we're gonna have it in 5 minutes. Winter. And speaking of winter and bad light, I would probably not be doing much traditional drawing videos until March because it's very hard with the lighting for me, so I think I'm gonna stick to digital because of that. So I hope you like digital drawing. But if I'm lucky and I get nice light, of course I can do some traditional drawing because I kind of feel like that's the popular thing to do, but screw being popular. Anyway, so digital art. I recently moved to a new computer, so I had to move a bunch of files, and I came across my old digital drawings. And I thought I made a digital art tour, or my old digital art tour something. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna look through some of my old digital drawings. I just selected some, we really don't need to see all of them. And we're gonna talk a little bit about it. But I just wanna say that in a lot of videos where artists look through their old art, they tend to get a little bit overly critical to their old art, and I can totally understand that. When I look through my old stuff, I totally trash talk myself. It's fine. When people make videos like that, I don't think it's a good idea to say stuff like, oh my god, I sucked so much back then, oh, look at that hand. Yeah, because I don't think it sends the right kind of message to younger artists. They're already insecure and doubting themselves, and they don't need to hear that their art sucks. And yes, you're not talking about their art, but they likely would identify with your older art and not with the newer, more polished one. So I will try to be constructive and positive when looking at my old stuff, because the purpose of this video is to show the progress and to show that it's a journey and things are getting better. And you know, it's okay to laugh at yourself. I do it, but I'm not gonna be doing it so much in this video, so just so you know. And enough blah blah, let's get to it. Okay, so let's get started. So we're starting in the year 2005, I believe, with this drawing, which I actually made draw this again a year ago, and I think I'm going to make another draw this again this year, and I think I'm going to try to do one each year to see where things are going. It can be interesting. So here what I did was just take picture of a sketch. Actually the sketch was not done by me, it was done by my cousin, so it's not all me. And I covered it in Photoshop digitally using the mouse. A lot of smudging, as you can see. It's alright. I remember being pretty proud with it, so yeah. Next up, very interesting territory for me. not a great drawing, but it excites me quite a lot because it's my first meeting with vectors. Even though it's vectors in Photoshop, I mean pen tool. It was drawn in 2007, 10 years ago. Maybe another candidate for draw this again. So yeah, discovering the pen tool was actually a huge breakthrough for me because I did not have a tablet and I didn't know when, if I ever will get one, because at the time I was studying something else. Drawing was just a hobby. I had no idea that I will ever try to make this my profession, so I didn't feel like buying a tablet was justified. I just had to find a way to make drawing work with the mouse, and the pen tool was doing that for me. And actually today, yeah, I have a smooth tablet, but I still use the mouse pretty much exclusively. So that's the beauty of the pen tool and vectors. It's something to consider if you don't currently have a tablet or can't afford it or whatever. And here we have this lady in traditional Bulgarian costume, picking those very special roses that we have. Being a little bit of a nerd, I feel like I have to point out that the costume she's wearing is from different area is not from the area with the roses, but whatever, nobody cares about this except for me. Anyway, why I'm showing this drawing is that here I'm actually combining the pen tool technique with some shading. So I would block the shapes with the pen tool, and then I will put some shading on top, and I will use clipping mask to make it stick to the shape. So it doesn't look great, but I'm developing a new technique, so that's nice. Here I was drawing the elements. This is kind of a subject that was always fun for me to draw. We have the earth, wind, and fire, and there was also water, but I still clearly remember as I was covering the water one, something happened, the program crashed, and I lost everything. I haven't saved for a while, so yeah, it brought me back. So yeah, I lost quite a lot, and I decided that I'll finish it another time, and I think I never did, so that's why water is missing. And yeah, I think that here I'm kind of starting to get better at this technique where I'm combining the pen tool and the vector shapes with some brush shading in Photoshop. I think I was using a very soft brush, as you can see, because it's much easier to cheat that way. It looks a little more natural than if you try to blend with a hard brush. If you can't control your strokes, which you can't really that much with the mouse, I think the round brush is a good choice, even though you get this blurry, not that great look, but that's also where the pen tool comes in and it gives you a bit more sharpness. Okay, with this one, I'm starting to go deeper with the pen tool. We can see that all the shading is done with the pen tool, and I discovered that I'm kind of liking it like that. There is something to be said about the cover. Like, I guess there is no cover that I didn't use in this one. So that's fun to see. Also, you can see some kind of attempt at logo or whatever this is. Watermark something. This was still way before I knew anything about logos and design and so on, so it's alright. So this one is actually, I think, a not too bad attempt at making the background and the character work together. They seem to work okay. Again, I used the pen tool and the soft brush for the shading, and also loads of brushes for the grass, for the clouds as well, I think, and also for the birds. I think some of the brushes I probably made myself. The grass for sure I got from somewhere on DeviantArt. Things are developing, and yeah, we are now in the year 2008. Yeah, I think that there was a lot of drawing actually in 2008. I remember it being as a really, really boring year, but art-wise I think it was a good year. Ooh, that I did for some kind of contest on DeviantArt, and I was so proud of it. And yeah, it still holds. I think the theme was geisha, so that's what it's supposed to be. If you wonder why you can't see her right hand, it's because her sleeve is so long. She totally has a hand, but it's inside the sleeve, really, I swear. Also, the typography is not the worst. Also, at this time I was working at a hotel reception. I was a receptionist, and that explains this one. I don't know about you, but it's giving me very stock illustration feel. That's just so generic. But yeah, for a while I was kind of digging that style and I was trying to get into it. But yeah, you can see more and more the pen tool work is improving. And also I'm moving away from the whole shading with the soft brush kind of thing. So things are getting a bit more sharp and defined, which I like. Now, this picture, I made it for wallpaper, I think. And I really liked it. And I still think it's kind of nice. Really like the colors. I always had a bit of a thing for autumn, and it always made me pretty creative. And yeah, I really enjoy drawing rain and this dark, moody atmosphere. I might remake this one. There's something about it. A word about the font. At some point I was really into this font. I think it was called Scriptina or something like that. Please don't use it. It's horrible. and it's way overused at this point. But yeah, still enjoy this one. I think we're still in 2008. And we get to this one, which I was so incredibly proud of. And I'm proud of my younger self because it's a really good one. And if you can't tell, it's a remake, like a Draw This Again, of this one that we saw earlier. And what is really interesting about this, and it blows my mind, I checked a few times and I kind of can't believe it, but they only have about half a year between them. A year, let's say. Almost a year between them. And that's some crazy improvement, I think. So I'm kind of a bit jealous of my younger self because I don't feel like I'm making such huge leaps right now. Things were going way slower now. But yeah, I think I was really going places 2008. I'm surprised. I remember 2008 being like one of the most boring years of my life. I don't remember anything happening. But it looks like there was a lot of drawing, so that's great. I guess it was great that it was a boring year. I got a lot of time for drawing. So yeah, I hope this motivates you because it kind of motivates me. Nice. Ooh, this is very interesting and exciting. This was a turning point. So what this is, early in 2009, I decided that I'm dropping everything I was doing up to this point. Well, I already graduated from what I was studying at the time, so I didn't really drop out, but I decided that instead of going and doing masters in the same area, I'm going to start all over again and I'm going to study graphic design. When I applied for the school, they sent back some kind of task they wanted us to complete. We had to make 2 advertising posters. The one was something with education, it's not that interesting, and the other one was we had to make an advertisement for either dental floss or raincoat, and I chose to do the raincoat. Well, my first attempt was trashed, it was really horrible, I'm not gonna show it to you, and I was lucky enough to have a friend who told me that it's trash. So I scrapped it and made this second one. I still think that this is a really good one. I really like the character, I like the mood, I like the story, the message. The only thing that can use some more work is the typography. But having in mind that I had absolutely no idea about typography back then, I didn't know it's a thing. Like, I know that types and fonts exist, but I didn't know it's a whole other area of knowledge, so I can be forgiven for that. Yeah, I remember drawing this one and I really loved it, and I still really love it. I think the typography is done well for once. The color choices work really nice. I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to say with this picture. I think it can be like a underwear commercial or something. I like how the body is drawn. I think I used the reference from DeviantArt's stock section. I'm pretty sure I did. And I like how the lighting is done. It's like, yeah, things are starting to look better. Moving on. Okay, this got to be one of my first attempts in Illustrator. There was this artist in DeviantArt. I don't remember the name, but I'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen for you. And this guy was doing some amazing stuff in Illustrator. I was so obsessed with it and I was like, I have to learn Illustrator. This is amazing. I had to have all the programs for my studying anyway, so I had Illustrator, and I started opening it once in a while and trying to make something with it, and it was so hard, so frustrating. Everything I've learned about pen tool in Photoshop did not apply to Illustrator, and it was so frustrating. So yeah, this is one of the first attempts. Yeah, interesting color scheme. I actually think at this point I discovered cooler or color lovers or something like that, so my color choices started getting a little more tame. So that's nice to see. This was an interesting twist in style. I discovered those, what are they called? It's kind of dolls, bow jointed dolls or something like that. They had these big eyes and painted faces. I was really into them for a while, and here the character I tried to make look like one of those dolls. And again, we have a bit of an autumny mood. It's kind of like my favorite thing to draw, I guess. Rain and wind and autumn. It's very nostalgic, so yeah, this is what this is. This one is probably one of my better attempts at digital painting, but yeah, there are some problems with it. It was my interpretation of a legend or a story or thing we have in Bulgaria, which involves this white dove that got injured and the red of the blood mixed up with the white feathers, and it explains something, never mind the story. So that's what the blood is about, but I don't know if I didn't see it, but it can kind of look like something else. Which is not that great. I don't know, but it's not too bad of a painting. I'm also getting better at my typography. So yeah, anatomy is getting better, blending is getting better, but yeah, that blood stuff, that's a bit... Anyway, that's a little fun thing I did after a project for school. We had to make a logo for this badminton club for children, and while I was sketching my logo ideas, I sketched this girl who is like she used to be in the club when she was a child, but then she grew up into a hot teenager with weird proportions, and yeah, I just drew her for fun using only the colors I used for the branding for the badminton club, and I guess it's one of my first attempts at limited color palettes, so that works nice. Yeah, there are a bunch of anatomy problems here, and again that stock illustration style creeping in. This is an attempt at a self-portrait painted in Photoshop with some kind of textured brush. I guess I liked me some texture even back then, and I used a photograph of myself, so yeah, not too bad. I rarely have the patience for something like that though, even today. Oh yeah, back to my childish stuff. Some kind of fairy ballerina here. I remember I was super proud of myself painting this. It was actually, I think, maybe my first attempt in pen tool Sai, or one of the first. I remember I saw someone on DeviantArt using it and I thought I'd try it. And I really liked it. It's so much nicer than Photoshop for painting. So much easier to blend, and yeah, it's just great. I think I should try it again sometime. And again, a bit of a color origin here. Oh, that was an interesting experiment. It's something a bit more abstract, so it was meant to look a little bit like a one stroke kind of thing, like something you would draw without lifting your hand. Obviously it's not made like that, but it has a bit of that vibe to me. Very decorative, and I kind of enjoy it. I think I was inspired by something, but don't exactly remember. Oh, that's something that I think most people don't like, but for some reason I really like. I think maybe the problem is with her eyes. They're a bit creepy, I must admit that. But there's something about the style that is very storybook and very interesting, and it's also one of the first more successful attempts at Illustrator, I think. One thing that I would do differently now is the daffodil in her hair. I would make it white so it stands out more, or I would make her hair darker. But I clearly remember picturing her blonde, so there was no option I make her hair darker, so I think the flower must be white or some other color because it blends in too much right now. And apart from that, and maybe fixing the eyes, making them a little more human, I'm really enjoying this. Next we're getting into 2011, but I feel like this is already really long, so I think I'm gonna cut in here and maybe split this video in 2 parts, because there is still a lot to go and I don't want this to be a half an hour or 1 hour video. It's just neither me nor you probably have the patience for that. So we'll leave off here. That will be for today. Give me a like if you liked it, comment, let me know if you want to see the rest from 2011 till today. Tell me what is your favorite, and also what kind of art do you do? Are you more of a traditional artist or digital, or what's your favorite program to draw or paint in? Also, if you want to see the rest, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you again in a week. And until then, have fun!